Hey, my listeners and saints. Today we're going to look at another somewhat horror story, and then it's back to the true crime. This video contains images and descriptions that might be disturbing. Viewer discretion is advised. How often do you confront the reality of missing children, or even worse, multiple? In a small, sleepy town where everyone knows everyone, there would become an issue with this. Who would do such a thing? And do we know them? This is what the town started to ask themselves. So lock your doors, tuck yourself in tight, and let's begin. This is called The Missing. I'm no weatherman, but for money, Washington has to be the rainiest state in America. And Killdeer, population just shy of 10,000 at least count, at last count, has to be the rainiest town in Washington. But I have never lived anywhere else and never wanted to. As I would like to say, rain and Killdeer go together like pie and coffee. Killdeer was 25 days into the last bout of rain when I sat down at my usual table at the Mug and Slice. The waitress, 19-year-old sweetheart named Jackie, brought me my usual, a cup of coffee and a slice of cherry pie. Hey, Gert, rain's been funny, she offered by starting the conversation. Think, this is funny? I counted. You should have seen 1998 when the winds felt like the rain was blowing in sideways, had to hold my umbrella like a rifle. Ding, a boy who was no older than 12 shuffled directly into the store with a stack of flyers. Jackie went to help him hang one in the window. Dog missing, $50 reward. And she told him that she would help, and that she hoped that the pup would turn up soon. Jackie always knew what to say to kids. Second dog I've heard missing in the last 2 days, Jackie said, returning with a fresh pour of coffee. Must have ran off together, I chuckled, like those two librarians in the 80s, Maximilian and what was her name? Ding, another interruption, this time by one of the oldest folks in Killdeer, as full of stories as me, Gus Thompson, the mailman. And at age 71, years young, a full 3 years younger than me, Gus just is the man I need to see. Who was that librarian that run off with the other librarian? Gus usually sported the easygoing demeanor that needed for a lifelong career at the post office. Today, however, he seemed distracted. Caroline, maybe Carol? Sorry, minds. Gus' eyes scanned the restaurant, nervously clocking me and the other two customers. I noticed Gus dragged his feet a bit as he made his way over to Jackie and I. Either of you talked to Doug or Sarah Hyman last few days? We shook our heads. The girl's missing. Haven't seen her since they put her to bed last night, or 2 nights back. Got me shook up. Talked to Walter at the station. They got nothing to go on. My mind fell quiet while I watched Gus's eyes aimlessly wander around the diner as if he might find a clue. Kilder was a small, innocent town. Children were always safe there. There have been missing children's reports since well over years and years. I glanced outside at the gray and empty street, and the rain got louder. Rest of the day, everyone was worried about the 6-year-old Ariel. Word was Sarah put Ariel to bed around 8 o'clock when Doug went to check on her at 9:30, and she was gone. No sign of struggle, no forced entry. No one knew what to make of it. Could she have just wandered off? Did she sneak over to a friend's house? Could someone have came in and taken her? It didn't make any sense, but then nothing did. Search parties were organized, and even though the rain was still coming down, most of the town volunteered to look. Across Kendall, Kildare, all anyone could talk about was Ariel Heinzman, at least until they started talking about Jordan Winding. Most folks in Kildare first learned his name when the whispers of cutting through the search parties. Hear about the other kid? 2 kids are gone in one night. Sounds like we should be on the lookout for a whole children's tea party. Ariel and Jordan, by all counts, had never even met and even went to different schools. The only thing the children had in common were that they were both 6 years old and they both had disappeared into the rainy night. Now, next few days, Kildare was swimming with folks in from around the state, offering to help us march through the woods, calling out their names, hoping beyond hope that we could find them and this would turn around and there they would be behind the bush, lost, but all right. They had to be all right. Even me, no spring chicken, bundled up and walked through the woods behind my house, looking for tiny footprints in the thick mud. I felt icy, damp air press into my bones as I triggered and trudged out aimlessly. I was lost in my head thinking about the terror that must have been gripping their parents. Type of horror that consumes you. You forget to eat. You forget to sleep. Eventually, with no hope of relief, well, you stop feeling like a person. You're just a vessel for an unending fear. The rain clouds had shown no signs of letting up, and that night it got darker earlier than I expected. I got turned around, then fully lost. I couldn't have gotten very far, yet nothing looked familiar. The old growth trees pressed in around me. In the rain, I took my phone out and tried to pull up a map, fumbling to get my wet gloves off to work the damn thing. I was shocked by how cold it had gotten. Finally, location pinpointed on the screen. I was a full mile away from my home and I was soaked to the bone. Then through the trees, all of a sudden, I seen something move. Ariel, Jordan, the crack of a branch, then slowly plodding, squash. Was someone pushing something through the mud? I called out again, "Hello, do you need help? Are you looking for..." Bam! All of a sudden, a light just came through the forest. Suddenly, the woods lit up as if the bolt of lightning cracked down from the inky clouds, striking 50 yards from me, mere feet from where I had seen the movement. I sloshed through the mud quick as I could, but when it got to where the lightning had hit, there was nothing. No shattered tree, no scorch marks, no footprints. I called out again frantically, "Hello? Did anyone else see that?" The only reply was the tap, tap, tap of the strengthening rain. With nothing else to go on and no urge to tempt the darkness further, I made my way home and hoped that I had not caught the death of me out there looking for the children. 3 rainy days after Jordan and Ariel vanished, two more sets of parents were calling the police in panic. Andrew Carlin, finishing his super senior year at Kildare, I don't know why I want to call it that, high, disappeared after he is um, doing his shift at the Rivera Theater. The manager said that he never saw him come back down the only set of stairs from the projection room. Along with Andrew, a girl in her late teens was missing. Her car was found empty and idling at a stop sign 3 blocks from her house. In both cases, their phones, their wallets, and all their possessions were accounted for. Only their bodies were gone. The next morning, the mug and slice was full of out-of-towners, news crews, and journalists. Even a few groups of even a few groups who somehow all made a living investing in unsolved crimes on YouTube. That's nasty. Are they writing about me? It's incredible. Everyone wanted to talk to the locals, on the hunt for suspicions and theories. I just stared into my cup of coffee, somehow expecting Jackie to suddenly appear with a fresh pot and explain away this madness. Whole town's gone bananas, Gus sighed, slumping into his chair across from me. All these strangers shoving recorders in my face, asking what I think is going on and what I think is happening. And all this rain, got to drive all the way over to Hank's cutoff to get to the lowlands. Route 23 is flooded. Hey, Gus. Hey, Gus is still here. Yay. I don't know why she said that. I heard my voice begin to shake and tried to tighten my grip. You know, Jackie, oh, I missed this part, sorry. What's all the fuss about? I asked Gus. It's because another person had been missing, and it was Jackie. Jackie wouldn't harm a soul. She's the best of us and those kids. Gus, who would have done this? I heard my voice begin to shake and tried to tighten my grip. You know, Jackie said that she had an ex who was a creep, but Gus shook his head as he leaned forward. I know just about everyone in this town. I see their homes, I see their mail. If someone's doing this, they ain't from Kildare. The way everybody's disappearing. No clues, no signs of struggle. It's almost, Gus picks up his mailbag and whispered to me, I'm not convinced that they're all human. Gus, what are you talking about? Gus. Yeah, something like that. That would be kind of cool. See aliens. Okay. Jackie Ray I raised my skeptical eyebrow at Gus as he plodded out the door. We had had supposed Bigfoot sightings in our town within 100 miles from the forest, but I had figured Gus to be a passenger on the crazy train now. Was he trying to distract me from my sadness? Didn't work. This was a logical explanation to those disappearances. There had to be, but then again, it seems that this would only happen from a monster. Who would take children? Only a monster would. Taking 4 children and 2 adults. 2 days after the teens disappeared, Marcus Gruber failed to show up for his shift at Reynolds Hardware. Meanwhile, the manager of Timber Inn, fully booked by out-of-town looky-loos, was furious when his housekeeper, Bella Jang, I don't know. What does it say, Bella? Stopped reporting to work. The day after, Kevin Lucci went out to the orchard and he never returned. And when Marilyn Green's husband got home from work, he found a pot of boiling water, but no Marilyn. Where are these people going? This is so many. It's a lot of people. Is it going to end with the narrator being the only person in town? Overnight gun sales quadrupled. Folks stopped saying hi and started whispering. Rumors about who could have been behind this spirited rumors about who could have been behind this sprinted around town. Meanwhile, more and more strangers started driving around in our little town, each with a new wild idea about what was going on. I stopped even going out to the mug and slice. My days were spent peering out of my blinds. The only person I saw anymore was Gus, going house to house delivering the mail under the thickening downpour. Spending my days alone gave me plenty of time to think about the missing. The patterns were obvious, always in pairs, one male, one female, and the victims were getting older with each disappearance. I checked my doors and windows at night and started keeping a broken mop handle nearby, just in case. Still, what kept me up at night wasn't fear about myself. It was who was going to do anything to me. No, not sleepless nights. No, my sleepless nights were now filled with worry about who was already gone and when would they return. I was lying in bed in a restless haze at 2 a.m., listening to the rain drum angrily around me and against the window, when suddenly there was a knock. Bang, bang, bang! Strong, authoritative. Bang, bang, bang! I had to remind myself to breathe as I reached down and grabbed the mop handle. But the banging had stopped, replaced by thud, thud, thud. Sorry, bad sound effects. Whoever was out there had got done knocking. They were coming for me after all, and they were kicking my door down. Who's there? I swear, I said in a loud voice, but my words may have gotten caught in my throat. The thudding continued. I fumbled to my phone as the door jamb started splintering. I shook my phone to unlock it as my hands shook wildly. Come on, unlocked. Talking to the phone, come on, unlock. Boom! The door gave way. It was too late. Into the house strode Gus. I screamed, still clutching the mop handle. Gus pointed the shotgun dead at me. Gus, the fuck are you doing? Gus is packing. Now, hang on a second. What's going on? Gert, you're okay. I tried calling, but the cell towers are flooded. Abe Gardner is gone. Worried you might be too. I caught my breath and Gus accepted my invitation to a glass of water. He apologized about the door and explained that he couldn't sleep and his mind had been racing ever since the first reported Ariel missing to Jackie and I. The dark circles under his wild eyes reflected my own. I put my hand on Gus and told him that I had the same feeling. I was in my nightgown after all, but the nighttime of our paths crossed at the mug and slice. As Gus rehung the door, I assured him no one would come after an old lady like me, as no one like me. And as he put the door back up, he said, maybe I should have asked to stay, but I suddenly started feeling a little bit feverish. The rotten feeling behind your eyes was creeping in, and my skin had grown clammy. I was too hot, or was I too cold? and my eyes were watering. I could have sworn that the walls of my room began to shimmer. I wiped my eyes and looked around. A ringing started to grow in my ears. The walls were more than shimmering, they were glowing in ethanol blue. I think that's the word. Is this how it happens? The disappearing? Gert accidentally ate a bag of mushrooms or something? Suddenly, I was blinded by a pulsing blue light that came from the corner of my room. My skin broke out in a cold sweat. I was alone. My drapes were drawn, but my skin prickled everywhere like someone watching me. Then I screamed. It felt like a hook size of a manhole cover had been driven into my chest and yanking me towards the ceiling. My hair drenched in sweat hung across my eyes, which failed to adjust to the throbbing light. The searing pain in my chest was agony unlike any I'd ever felt before. I felt myself slipping out of consciousness. Before I blacked out, the last thing I saw was my ceiling split apart and a bolt of lighting shoot out of the clouds straight at my chest. I awoke in a small room that was white with no furniture and no wall decorations. There was barely seemed to be walls at all. In every direction, the white floor ended in a mist that extended all the way to the white ceiling. The only way that the only other object in the room, holding his knees and looking worse of aware, was Abe Gardner. Abe? Suddenly, the mist walls cleared away, revealing a larger room, still all white, but cloudy walls were now hundreds of yards away in every direction. I scanned the room. Not far away were the two missing 6-year-olds, and they were huddled together, and near them was Jackie and the other teen. They all looked emancipated. No, not emancipated. They looked in fear, like they hadn't eaten for days. The other missing Killdeer residents were there too, as well as a pair of cats, 2 cows, 2 horses, and chickens. I even recognized the dog as being one of the ones from the flyer and the mug and slice. Everyone, everyone was here, though no one looked well. I pushed my legs into motion towards the group, but was stopped dead by a piercing shriek. From the opposite side of the room, a dark, withering mass started sliding towards me. As it got closer, its appearance made my jaw fall open and my body go limp, like an enormous jellyfish with no tentacles. It came close, then it lunged at me until it was inches away from my face. It smelled like death. From deep within itself, it began to talk. Look up on me and rejoice, my daughter, for you have salvation and it's now assured. Welcome to the new ark, the ark that will save our planet. A great flood is coming, and I have charged you with delivering the information and eternal damnation. I opened my mouth to speak, but the creature cut me off. I was blind, but now can see, and I've read your books. I've spoken to your gods. He said the second great flood was upon you, and that I was your planet's only salvation. The misty walls rose again around Abe and I, separating the two from the rest of the room. That was 4 days ago, and we haven't had any food or water since. I spend my waking moments thinking about Kildor of Gus, but I was asleep. There was nothing left but rain. That's how it ends. I don't know where I get this shit. I mean, I tried to hold it together whenever I was reading about the dogs and the cows and all that. This turned into some kind of religious thing talking about Noah's Ark. I don't know what happened here. I should have probably read that before I read that. Um, yeah. So it's a new version of Noah's Ark. You're welcome. Thank y'all for watching. Please like and subscribe, share, comment, complain, rebuttal, whatever you want to put on this, because this was crazy. Thank you again, as always, for watching my nonsense. And I will talk to you later. Bear people.